Alright, hello everyone. Now we'll be doing finance for paper 1 today, some past paper grade 12 finance questions. So just like algebra question in this one, mostly I will go through the memorandum and we will discuss and see what has happened in the solutions and so on. As you see, we have done finance from grade 9, 10, 11. There is a formula, simple interest, compound interest, and there is a depreciation conditions, which is reducing balance or straight line depreciation. And grade 12, you'll learn this future and present value formula. And that's mostly they ask in grade 12 metric papers. Okay, so this will not be a teaching video, it will be problem solving or thinking about the questions, how we should approach these questions and what we should understand from the keywords. So that's the aim for this video. Okay, so in a paper they ask, it's usually question 6 or 7 before we start, and approximately it's around 15 marks, so it's 10% of the paper 1, 15 out of 150. Sometimes it could be 14, 13 or 16 or 17, but so it's around 10% of the paper is finance. All right, let's start. Now Loretta wants to buy a house for 748,000 rand. So she asks a loan from a bank, offers 9% interest rate, compounded monthly. Okay, her payment starts 1 month after the loan has been granted. Okay, that thing let me highlight is the normal condition. Nothing is wrong. See, 1 month after the loan has been granted. So like if she will start after 3 months, that will be not a normal case. So then that's just you don't need to worry about that sentence, it's actually a normal condition. That's the normal condition. Nothing is wrong. You can just apply the formula. Now, how many years will it take? So she will make, monthly payments. Yes, she can afford. So there is the monthly payments, fixed payments is there. So it is the 7,000 rand. Now, first of all, what's our keyword? Is the loan, and in the loan question, if it doesn't say hire purchase or anything, we will use P formula. And inside P formula, what do we have? We have an X, we have an I, and we have N. So remember, N in P or F formula is not years, it is number of payments. And that's the question in this case. They are asking number of payments. So when we find number of payments, that will be number of months. So we will divide that answer. Why is it number of months, by the way? Because she pays every month. So number of payments will be actually number of months. So whatever that answer is, we will divide it by 12. Okay, so because the question asks years. So whatever N we will get, we will divide it by 12. Okay, that's what we will do. So N is the question. What about X? X was already given, that is 7,000. Yes, and I, the interest rate, yep, it was given 9%. But while we are writing the formula, what we write 0.09 over 12. Okay, and P was the loan. That's the amount of the loan. So since we know all these, so we know the value of the loan. Yes, we know X, we know I. So what is missing is N, and that's the question. But remember, what we get for N, we will divide that by 12, because N here is not the years. It is number of payments, and in this case, it's number of months. So if you check the memorandum, all is fine. You're complete. This is the formula for P, as you see. So we substitute amount of loan as the value of P, and that's my X, 7,000. And as you see, what is missing is only N. And in the formula, it is negative N. That's why we write and we leave it as negative N. Okay, let me just mention, do not multiply it by 12 or anything. Do not multiply it, because many learners confuse that. Multiply it by 12 or 4 or anything. Okay, please don't do that. Just leave it as N. From here, when you substitute, then it's just simplifying and leaving N alone and finding the answer. And most of the memorandums, when you look, writing the correct n and making the correct substitution will be your already 2 marks over there. So you are going to make some substitutions. Making use of log when it is n questions, it is definitely a 1 mark. So, but to be able to use log, we must have that exponential expression alone. You see, our term with exponential expression, which is the base, left alone in this step. So something to the power of negative n is 139 over 700. So how do we find n? You can actually use from here, you can use this negative n is log. We can use the formula for the base. No, we don't need to divide log by log as it is done here, or we don't need to take log of both sides. That's not wrong what is done here, but you can actually just think base is base. So in base we write 0 0.09 over 12, and here 139 over 700. So that should give the answer straight. Okay, that should give me the answer straight. So you can do that. Nothing is wrong in solving like that. And then, okay, as we said, the answer that we got, which is n is equal to 216 years. So it doesn't need to say n is 18. We got already n. So 216.35 months, it is months in this case, makes 18.03 years. Okay, so don't round off, leave it as it is. So that she needs to pay for 18 years. Okay, but please study leaving n alone, because you may have written the correct I and correct substitution. That's good, 2 marks. But then leaving n alone is an issue. Okay, or leaving the exponential term alone before using log is an issue. You need to just study on this thing, please. So it's a definite question. They ask n, number of payments or number of installments or number of withdrawals. Okay, in different cases. In F or feature video, whenever they ask n, it is number of payments, number of installments, number of withdrawals. So if it is monthly payment, that's number of months, like in this case. Okay, and yeah, this question asks years, that's why we divide it by 12. Otherwise, you could just leave it as 260. Now, let's look at the second question now. Redney Holiday Resort bought a pleasure boat with a value of 4.5 million rand, okay, in 1st April 2016. The value of the boat depreciates 11% reducing balance method. So price of a new boat increases 8% annually. So that price increases why? Because of inflation. So which formula do you use when it is inflation? Which formula you use when it is reducing balance? So they don't tell you that. You must know out of these A formulas, there's no regular fixed payment here. We just be using the one of the A formulas, but which one? You need to know it. And the management of value reserve not to replace the boat 6 years after with the aid of sinking fund. See, the idea of sinking fund is actually explained here. It's basically replacing, because they will be selling the old one and they will buy a new boat. So that's the idea of replacing. Okay, but definitely when they sell the old one, the price will be not like the money, the amount that they bought. You see, they bought it for 4.5 million rand. And as you see, the value of existing boat is the first question. What is the new value after 6 years? And 722 is what is the price of a new boat, new similar boat. So see, that's the new boat. That's compound formula, compound interest formula. Because of inflation, the boat prices will decrease. And the first one we will be using reducing balance formula. Okay, reducing balance, basically depreciation. Okay, let's check the memorandum. So the first one was the reducing balance depreciation formula. Yes, you can write the formula. Our current the value of the boat that when they bought is 4.5 million. So depreciation rate is 0.11. As you see, you don't divide by 12 or anything. It's just a formula, not compound and monthly or anything. It's just depreciation formula. Okay. and then n is years. As you see in a formula, n is years, not like future or present. So after how many years? It is 6 years. And similarly, so the value of the bot that they use will be after 6 years 2,236,000 rand, whatever. And the next one is for inflation. Again, that's for years. N is for years in this A formula. And after how many years we are looking for the price of a similar bot. So the current bot is 4.5 million. I mean, the bot they bought was 4.5 million, but after 6 years, because of inflation, that price will increase. If they want to buy the same bot, this time they need to pay 7,140,000 and whatever. Now that's the idea of sinking fund, as we said. Why? Because that's actually the next question was there. The difference between these two is the money required to replace. You see, so the difference is required to replace. Is required for replacement. So because they will sell the old one and they will buy the new one. So new one costs 7 million, the old one costs 2 million. So the difference is what they need. So that difference, if they don't make any investment, whatever, they have to pay that difference after 6 years. So that is coming our 7.4, because what does it say? I mean 7.2.4. What does it say? Determine the monthly installments. So they will make monthly installments into the sinking fund if interest rate. So interest rate is given, it's compounded monthly and everything. By the way, as a keyword, sinking fund is the future value, because they are going to save for their future. If they don't make such an investment for their future after 6 years, what will end up is they have to pay the difference straight, 4 million, 4.5. It's almost 9 million that they have to pay. Remember, the difference they need to replace, that amount was almost 5 million rand. So since they don't want to pay 5 million just like that after 5 years, after 6 years, what they are planning to make monthly payments. Okay, so future value, yes. What do we have in the future value formula? We have X, yes, we have I, and we have N. So which ones do we know, which ones we don't know? So X is the question, because that's the question. What should be the monthly payments? So they need. And I is given. It was 10%. Don't forget, you need to write 0.10 divided by 12 because monthly. That's good. And what is N? That's 6 years. Remember, we don't write 6. We don't even write 6 times 12. N is not years here. N is number of payments. So how many installments they will make in 6 years time every month? That's 72. That's actually 6 times 12, 72. But not always, okay, N is not always years times 12. Because sometimes it is years times 4. And sometimes you miss some payment, they start late, or there are missing payments and whatever. So you better learn N and keep it in mind as it is number of payments, installments. So then that's it. Only X is missing. You put into formula. As you see in the memorandum, you have the correct I, that's fine, and the correct N, that's fine, and correct formula and substitution, that's fine, and leave the answer alone and get the answer. Okay, so that will be the question for, that will be the solution for 7.4 here, which is quite nice, as you see. It's just be careful using calculator and rounding off. How do we get the answer? We will multiply this amount, almost 5 million rand, times here the I value, and divide it by the term next to X. So that's how you leave X alone. Okay, now another year's question. That's 14 marks, as you see, and that's another question 7 in another paper. So Nidiva bought a house for 2,100,000 rand. In the Zenit Central, she paid the deposit transfer selling price. She obtained a loan from the bank. The interest rate 12% compound. They agreed to money. Okay, so all seems fine. So we know her monthly payments. We know it's a loan, which is P formula, and we know she paid the deposit. And the first question asks how much did she borrow from the bank. So if she paid 25%, so 75% is the deposit taken from the bank. It's just 1 mark. You can first find the deposit and subtract it from the original amount, or you can just find 75% of the original amount. And how many months did it take? So how many months? That means how many payments. How many months means same as, because it's a monthly payment condition, how many months is same as how many payments. And how many payments is basically asking the n. What is n? N is the question. So because it's a loan, we know we have the P formula, and because we have P formula, I must make clear what is my x, I, n values. Okay, so which of these that I know and which of these that I don't know. X is the fixed regular payment, which is 21,116. I is the rate, which is 0.12 over 12. And n, okay, that's the question. And what is P? Okay, P is the amount. Actually, we answered it in 7.1. Okay, so we actually answered the amount taken in 7.1. So that's it. It's only n is missing. It's another question. You need to leave n alone, and you have to use log and find n, just like that. And because it is loan, yeah, we already said it is P formula. Let's check the memorandum, how it is made. Yeah, as you see, the first question, you find 75% the original amount. So deposit paid and the remaining part is the loan, and the amount of loan is 101,575,000 rand. So you substitute correctly. We have our x value, we have all the I values and everything, so it's just n is missing, and then you leave the exponential term alone, and you use log, and you find negative n. So negative n, calculator gives you a negative answer, that's negative n anyway. So it's 137 point, so it has decimals. So let's just pay a little bit attention what that decimal means in this case, because remember, you can have 10 payments or 20 payments or 130 payments, but this is 137 point some. You see what we said for n, what was n represents in P or A formula. It represents number of payments. So how can number of payments is decimal? You see, you can make 5 payments or 6 payments. You can't make 3.7 payments. What does it mean? So it means this. Actually, it will have the full amount of 137 payments. What is full amount? Which is x. In this condition, it is 21,116. And then it is the 138 payment is necessary, that she will make a last payment, and that last payment is just not going to be the all regular fixed payment that we said, like it won't be 21,000 anymore. It will be less than all these other payments. There's a last payment which is less than the other payments. So that's why we can say she will make 138 payments. Even if you end up even if we got n is equal to 137.1. So we are not rounding off. So even if n is equal to 137.1, we still say 138. Okay, there's a last payment which is less than the original fixed amount, 21,116, which is less than that. So that will be made. Okay. And yeah, and one more thing, from here we can write negative n as log base is base 1.01 and 2683 over 1,558. Okay, so that should give the same answer. If you just type this thing, that should give me the same answer, negative 137. Okay, and just keep in mind as an extra note, it's not rounding off, it is there. Now calculate the balance of outstanding. Now balance of outstanding questions, there are two ways of solving that, but one is using just P formula, kind of a little bit easier, looks like easier, but it doesn't work always. That's why, as to guarantee the condition, I just give you that one way, the other way, which always work. Balance of outstanding is BO A minus F. Okay, that was the only formula, not P formula. A minus F formula always work, and that's why I suggest this formula. I suggest you use this formula. Always work. So it always works. The other one works only if your all the payments, including the last one, is same. You see, like in this question, the other formula does not work. Why? Because we have seen our last payment, because of that decimals we have seen, there will be a last final payment which is less than 21,000. That makes P formula doesn't work in 7.3. And as you see in the memorandum, what is done is exactly what we said. They have done A minus F. So this whole thing is our A, and number of payments is done. That whole thing is F. So A minus F. And because it's after 80 months, so it's basically A80 and F80. Okay. And you can even notice that there is 80 here and there is 80 there. They must be same. And obviously, you can even see we are subtracting. Now, what is this idea of using A minus F? Let's just go through that. This is the idea. Like you bought a loan, 1,575,000 rand, whatever. And in the case of not making any single payment, that money grows and grows and grows. Like you can say, give me that much of money and I'll make a payment. I'll close that account after 80 months. Okay, they can tell you, yes, take it, go for it, take it home, whatever. But then the money that you'll be paying is too much. Like it's not shown here, but because borrowing that much of money, your payment after 80 months will be A part here. However, what you have done, you made 21,116 rand payments of every month, for 60 months you actually made that payment. So that is kind of your investment for that time. Instead of making a full payment of that A formula, now you will subtract your investments, kind of investment. That's why it is F formula, you see. That's why it is A minus F. So your 21,000 grow and grow and grow. That's like your investment. And the difference is still the money that you will pay. And at the end of the duration, for example, if your payments will be, all your payments will be 200, for example, in a question. So when they are 200 and 200, they will be balanced. The answer will be 0. Nothing will be left as a balance of outstanding. Okay, but not in this question. Okay, in this question, in the 18th payment, so 80 payments is not enough to cover all these loan. So she still needs to pay 922,000 after 80th payment at that time. Okay, the question can say after 5 years. So 5 years means how many payments? So exactly after 5 years, so after the 60th payment, 5 times 12, 60. So instead of 80 and 80 here, you just substitute 60 and 60, that you get the answer. Or the question says after the 11th payment, so you make 11 and 11. Just change this 80 to 60 or 11 and get the answer what they want. Okay, so that's how it works. Now, the question has a little bit more complicated condition. Why? After the 80th payment made, she had some problems, financial problems. She couldn't pay the 81st, 82nd, 83rd, 88th. So she missed how many payments? 5 payments. And then she will start paying from the 86th month. And then she will increase her monthly installments. Obviously, she has to increase if she wants to finish at the same duration, for the same duration. So what is her new monthly installments? Remember, what is the monthly installments that regular payment? It's X. Now, let's check and go through the solution. What she owe at that time, after the 90th payment, is 922,000 and everything. Now, that loan, you see, okay, it's debt condition. At that time, the 80th payment, if she says, okay, I have lots of money, I don't want to make any more payment, okay, just tell me how much should I pay at the moment, and they will tell her, you need to pay 922,110, so go home, pay it, and done. No more monthly payments, nothing. However, when she goes to bank after 5 months and she tells them, okay, how much do I owe now? Then they will tell her, not 922,000 anymore. Sorry, because during 5 months it grows. So the loan that she owes at that time, because of the missing payments, and she kept that money in that way, so that money grow. So it become 969,147 rand now. So if she pays this much, then she will be fine and close her account. But now what she says, according to this new P, let's say it that way, this is the new P, and that new P is the new loan actually, and then how much she has to pay to complete during the same time. So during the same time is this, how many more payments she has to make. See that 53 is 5 mark, sorry, 1 mark here. You must make that substitution in an A formula for only 5 months, and then you find a new value. By the way, why is it that 5? Because some learners may get confused that as well. Remember, that's like 5 over 12 years times 12. So if you think why it is not like n times 12 because it's compound interest, you don't really need to worry about that. It's the same thing. So n times 12 is, what is n? If you think it's a years, 5 over 12. 5 months is 5 over 12 years. So 5 over 12 years times 12 is 5. So you just write it 5 straight. Nothing is wrong here. So you find the answer, which is new P. And how do we get how many payments is she going to make? So how many payments left? So you can just think to be able to get 138 payments, and then she will start paying from 86. So 85 of them, 85 months passed. So you subtract 85 from 136. So that's how you get 53. So 85 months passed, and starting from 86 she will start paying, from 86 then 87 then 88 and everything all the way to 138. So you subtract, and that's how you get 138. That's our n, and in the formula it is negative 53. Now the I is, everything is fine, so you get another mark for substitution. That's nice. And the answer, leave x alone. As you see, she used to pay 21,116, but now she has to pay 23,646 now. It is more because of her missed payments. She didn't pay for 5 months, and those payments should be added. It's not added equally like you divide and add them up. So this is how you calculate that new payment. It's not like you just say, okay, 5 payments missing, 5 times 21,000, so she didn't pay 100,000 rand. Okay, no, divided by, no, it doesn't go like that, please. That's not the way to calculate that new monthly payments. Okay, so because of there is interest inside, you need to calculate such things in this way. Okay, I hope it's clear. This question is a nice question. It was missing payment, balance of outstanding, and all. Yeah. So we got it. Good. 6.1 says what? Display a teacher Port Edward invests 4,500 rand in an account per annum compounded quarterly. Now she has 13,500. How long did she invest? Okay. Is this a regular fixed payment that she pays every month or every quarter? No. So then it's a formula. Okay. So we don't have not a regular fixed payment. Okay. Not a regular and fixed payment. So like she doesn't pay 5,400, 4,500 for every month. So because it is not a regular fixed payment, so don't worry about it. Is not P or F. So what's it then? We have to use a formula. And which a formula? 1 plus I over 4 because it's quarterly, and times 4. That's how you decide first, because thinking about which formula is the first important thing here. Because then if you select the correct formula, then you can think about what is my A, so that's the after amount, 13,000. What is my P, the previous amount, the investment, 4,500. What is I? I is given. So what is missing then? N is missing. Okay, so you'll find N. So if we check the memo, as you see, it's the correct substitution of A, correct substitution of P, and correct substitution of interest rate. It's divided by 4. Now this N is not times by 4, but it is fine. You can find it as N. So that answer for N using log is here explained as quarters. You see, that's the quarters, number of quarters. So that's, then it is divided by 4. Okay, basically 4N is 50.78. That's 4N. It's like you times by 4 4 times quarters. To find years, you can just divide it by 4 and get the answer. So as you see, naming n officially, like is it always months or years or what, is not really important, because if you tell me, okay, n is 50, oh, so is it 50 years? No, they did it for the sake of quarters. So but in your case, you can keep writing n times 4 and 4n and 4n and 4n and 4n, so you find 4n is 50, then n is 12.7. That's, I think, much better or reasonable way. And the way that we used to solve from the first one is done here. See, you can just use that log formula straight. So from this step, you can use that answer, get 50 straight. All right. Yes, so it's not a future or present formula, it's just a formula and finding n. Now 6.2, once he pays deposit and takes the loan. So now it's a long question, you're paying a deposit and everything, so it is P formula. You see, it's a present value thing. How much money must Motorola borrow from the bank? So when he pays deposit, okay, when the deposit is done, so the remaining we need to calculate. So you can either find deposit and subtract from 700,000, or you can just say 80% of 700,000. They will both give the answer. Calculate the monthly payment. Monthly, okay, most of the questions there are monthly payments, that's X, but sometimes it can be quarterly payments or anything, okay. And after loan is taken, monthly payment starts after at the end of first month. The first payment is at the end of first month, so it shouldn't confuse you. And so it says 15 years, so how many payments he will make? He will make every month for 15 years is 15 times 12, so that will give us 180. Okay, so if we just look at the memo, how it goes, see, we have those are the marks that we can obtain. So correct substitution with the formula, n is minus 180, we just said 180 because for 15 times 12, so we must divide interest rate by 12, which is given, and it's just finding x. X is the question. We know the amount of loan, which is 80% of 700,000, that's the loan, and x is missing, so just find the answer with calculator, cross multiply and divide. Okay, so you'll get the answer with calculator, round off 2 decimal places correctly. All right, so that's for 15 years. She will pay every month 9,000 rand. And then the last one is our balance of outstanding condition Y. Sometimes it happens because rich uncle passed away, or so you win the lottery, you have lots of money or anything, so you don't want to make any more monthly regular fixed payments. So after the 50th payment, he wants to stop paying. For example, he has lots of money, he doesn't want to say, okay, let me pay 9,000 every month. After the 50th payment, he wants to find out what's the outstanding balance. So that is BO, and that's BO 50. Now, as you see, it's A minus F, what we said. But here, the first solution, because our first and last and all payments are same, here is the one that we use P. So what is the, let's say that way, it is used P. The total payments was, how many payments we had? 180 minus 50, okay? Or we could use A 50 minus F50. Okay, so they both correct. You can either use P130, okay, or A50 minus F50. But P130, so that's 130, you can see, it can only be used when the first and last payments are same. So what I see 130 is here, okay, it comes here as negative 130 as you see. But the second way, which is the same, so that's A50 and F50, and as you see, that's 50 and 50. It's just the original amount grows that much during 50 months minus your investments make this much of money, and their difference is it will get the same answer. Okay, it will give you the same answer, but this way always work. A minus F is the way which always works. Let's write again. So that P formula may not work when your last payment is not same, like in the previous question. Okay, like in the previous question, you had a different final payment, so you could not use P formula in that condition. Okay, anything different here? Now we are given the lines, straight line and exponential line, they both there. So what's happening here? The exponential line and the straight line graphs. So straight line is a simple interest, we can say. The exponential one is the compound interest. Oh, that's the first question, investment option. Okay, and then determine the rate of interest of Jerry. So Jerry was, okay, that's a straight line. So in a simple interest condition, find the rate. So what is rate? It is I. So then you will write the simple interest formula. So A is equal to P1 plus IN. So what's important here is that is the years, which is N, and that is the money, which is A. And the original amount is P. So P is the 50,000 case. So you know A, you know N, you know P. You just need to find I. So yeah, it is done in the memorandum as you see. Straight line is simple interest, compound interest is the curve, and you use simple interest formula. Just make the correct substitution. A is 65,000, the invested amount is 50,000, and number of duration is 3 years. Then just solve it. You know, it's a straight line solving linear equation to get the answer. And then that last one, 7.2, a loan of 80,000 is repaid by equal monthly installments. Final amount, okay, for less than F of less than, okay, there's a final payment which is less than 5,500. Payments begin 6 months after the granting of the loan. Interest is calculated to 21.5% compounded monthly. Okay, the amount owing before the commencement of the loan. Okay, now what's happening here? We buy a loan, okay, and it's monthly installments. So your first payment has to be made by the end of first month. So like you can take the money and go home. That's fine. You don't need to make a payment immediately. But then end of the first month must be so your first payment. So there's your loan. You take it and you go. So the first payment must be done here. The second payment end of second month. Third payment, fourth payment, fifth payment. But now what's happening here? The begin 6 months after granting the account. So first payment made after 6 months. So how many payments missed? That's our point. So how many payments missed? That's 5 missed payments. 5 payments missed, whatever you say, okay? Because our first payment is the 6th one. Because 5 payments missed. So because the 6 months we have the first payment, so we didn't pay anything end of the first or second or third or fourth or fifth month, so 5 payments missed. So that is how the loan will grow. So the loan will be RP in this formula. It will grow for that 6 month duration. So that 80,000 rent is not going to be 80,000 anymore. You see, the story is like that. You go to bank and tell them, give me 80,000. Okay, please, that's the condition. All right. So if you just change your mind at that time, like at that time, and you say, okay, take 80,000 back, they can take it. They can say, okay, you don't want to sign, take our papers, go back, whatever. But now, if you go to bank after 5 months and tell them, take your 80,000 back, they won't accept it, you see. Now they will tell you, your loan, the money you owe, is not 80,000 anymore. Sorry, because it will grow. You have to pay more than 80,000. So that you calculate with the A formula. All right, so that's the new P actually. So that's what you are calculating as new P. In the late payment condition, there's this new P idea. So that A is going to be our new P for the loan. Okay, so we need to find new p, and we must find new n actually. Now in this case they ask number of payments in the next question, so which is n anyway, so we need to find n. That's leaving n alone. Now let's check the memo. All is fine. As you see, it is for 5 okay, that was not much clear. Let's say because the power is not 5, it is 6 here. Let's read the question. He began 6 months after the granting of the loan. Okay, so then that is wrong. I am sorry to say that, but that has to be, because if you start after 6 months, that n has to be 5. Okay, and that answer will not be this thing here, but nothing is wrong anyway. So that will be 5 because your first payment is end of 6th month. So it should be end of 1st month, and it will grow like that. Now that's your new p, whatever that answer here. Okay, whatever that answer here, that will be your new p. And what was the question in the second one? It's ask n, number of payments. So n was missing. We know the regular payment. It says he will pay 5,500. Okay, and you will get n. N will have some decimals. So that decimals, like in this case, we have 19.28. So that will be 20 payments. So you must make 20 payments. 20 payments, 19 of them will be 5,500. But the final payment will not be 5,500. It will be less than that. So that's a separate question. That's a separate question. You see, final payment is a separate question for 4 or 5 marks. So to calculate final payment, I know it is definitely less than our fixed payment 5,500. What do we do? Let's look at what do we do. So once you made your all 19 payments of 5,500, what you do is you find balance of outstanding at 19th payment. You see, as you see, that's 19 and 19. So that's BO 19. We find balance of outstanding at after we made the 19th payment. So it's A19 minus F19, you see. So A19 minus F19 gives us the money we owe once 19th payment is made. So it's 1,500 only. See, at that time, you can say, oh, let me pay 1,517 rand and it is done. But he doesn't say so. That he says, okay, so how much will I pay next month? Because it's the 20th month. So then it only grows 1 month more, you see. You see that 1? It's just that money grows for 1 month. So because you don't pay 1,517 rand after 19 months, in the 20th month you have to pay 1,544 rand, 0.66. Okay, so that's how we got that final payment answers. For final payment questions, you must find balance of outstanding just before the last payment made, last full payment made. Let's say just after the last full payment made, like here, our last 5,500 is made 19th month. So after it made, what is balance of outstanding? You find it, and that money increases for 1 month only. By the way, if the story goes like you forgot making this last final payment, you remember it after 5 months, so it's not going to be 1, it will be 5. That's it. That's the only difference. You forget paying that 1,517 rand, and you pay it after 5 months, so that will make it just the same thing. Put it 5 there. All right. So all seems fine then. So this type of finance questions, please understand using the correct formula correctly at the correct time and making correct substitutions. And there are late payment conditions, as we have seen. There is balance of outstanding conditions, as we have seen as well. And there are missing payment conditions. Even those questions we have done today, we have done quite a different and nice type of questions. There was just a small correction here. It was not going to be 6, it will be 5, and I explained why. And that's why those answers slightly can change. So you may just substitute and get the correct answers later on. Otherwise, all is fine. I wish you good luck in this finance section and all the paper.